This is amazing. This is maybe the biggest hot glass show I've ever seen. This is so cool. So are you all excited to see us make a glass pumpkin? I'm gonna get run out of here. The pumpkin demonstration was this morning. Today, of course, you all know that we are going to make a glass Lego man. And this is a demonstration that has been, oh, Chris, how long have you been working on this? At least a month in the making, perhaps even a couple months in the making. We were all very excited here at the museum when we learned about this BrickCon event that was going to be taking place. And earlier today, we were talking about how when we get these big special projects, our boss will sort of decide who is the most fit to lead a different project. And that could be skill set, that could be interest. There are a lot of factors and variables that go into that. And as soon as we knew that we were going to have this big Lego event, we had no one better than Chris Rochelle to be our glass maker. As long as I know Chris, as long as I've known Chris, which is like 10 years, he's had a keychain and it's been a golden Lego brick. So it was most appropriate that he would be our glass maker. Now also, don't try to go see it now, but later throughout the day, on the left side of the stage, around the corner here, during COVID, Chris's project for himself was to make a glass blowing studio out of Legos. So we have his studio that he set up, a glass blowing studio out of Legos set up over there on the left side. It's very cool, immense attention to detail. So it just meant, it just seemed so appropriate that Chris would make this piece. Now, this is Chris Rochelle. He's going to be the leader of the team. But for a piece like this, it requires a big team. It requires a lot of hands. So we got Tom Ryder, we have Catherine Ayers over there. We got Abigail, she'll probably jump in. We'll have some social media documentation happening, so there will be a lot of people around here on the floor. Now, my name is Michael. I'll explain the process, and I'll try to answer questions if you have them. Of course, with this many people, that may be impossible. But let me tell you a little bit about what it's taken to get to this point. We only have an hour, and that means that we couldn't make a Lego man from start to finish in an hour. So Chris has made all of the parts in advance, and we're going to assemble all of those parts together to make our Lego person. So let's talk about the equipment. In the center of the stage, this is our melting furnace. This furnace holds all of our clear glass. So this is what we start with. We start with clear glass. It comes out of this furnace, 2,100 degrees. Can you feel the heat? Yeah, I'll close this back up. I can't do it. But we start with clear glass at 2,100 degrees, and this is going to be primarily a solid sculpted object. So we get molten glass out of there, and then in this instance, we're trying to make a Lego man. And to make a square shape is quite challenging. So Chris has been pushing and manipulating the glass around between sets of tools. So oftentimes that's using our big steel table and using graphite paddles to compress the glass to make square shapes. Because glass does just want to be round. So he's made all the parts, and because this is a Lego figure and it's a manufactured item, he's been taking precise caliber measurements throughout this entire process. So he made a diagram. He actually, I'm not sure if it's around. He made, oh, it's over here. So he made a diagram. He made all of the measurements, and then he's been making everything in accordance to this diagram and to those measurements. He also, just beneath that, has a little Lego for reference as well. So he's made all the pieces, all the parts, these specific measurements, and now we're going to start to assemble it. So he's got the torso, and then this is the leg section, I don't know, I suppose it's is it a waist? Anyone familiar with Lego anatomy? The waist? Do we agree on waist? All right. So that's the waist. So that's our first attachment, our first connection. Now, because of the way that the Lego hinges and moves, he made this little concavity that cylindrical shape could fit into so that it's going to look accurate to the actual Lego. Now, we've got the melting furnace. We also have a reheating furnace on the left side of the stage. it's a little hotter than our melting furnace, and we'll use that constantly throughout the process to maintain the temperature of our glass. As glass is out in the open air, it's cooling down, it's cooling all the time. So we have that furnace to maintain a baseline temperature of about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So while we're working, this glass will never be below 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. If any of you are working in centigrade, that's about 510. Anybody in centigrade? Yeah, some of you, that's 510. So we're always keeping this glass very hot. Then we also have on the far right side of the stage, we have a piece of equipment, we call it the garage kiln. We call it the garage because we can make parts, and then we just park them in the garage, and they stay at about 1,000 degrees. Now this is a temperature where they will not be so warm that they move, they're not going to change shape, they're not going to slump or distort, but it's also not too cool that glass could crack and break, because the glass cools too fast, it would break. So we have all of our pieces in the garage. And then Chris has organized all of those pieces to come out of the garage in the order that he needs to assemble them. So we ran through all of that before we started, so that everybody here on the team was on the same page and we all knew that plan. Now, anytime we make these connections or these attachments, there is a little bit of glass left behind. So Chris was just cleaning some of that up. So he was just basically pulling that glass off the surface so that we do have a clean end or hip on our Lego. So that's what he's doing right now. So we've got the reheating furnace. That does a great job of heating everything. But Chris is using a torch, and this is our hot torch. Of course, it's hot. But we have a second torch you'll see Chris use. And that second torch, actually, I'll show you. This is the other torch. The kids like this one. We call that the fluffy torch, which is a very unassuming name for its scale and noise. But we call that the fluffy torch. That hot torch, though, is much more precise. So we can heat certain areas, we can heat very extreme heat. That torch is about 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. We achieve those temperatures, we use oxygen, and we use propane. So you'll see Chris using that constantly, heating just the specific parts of the glass that he wants to change or where he wants to make those attachments so that the glass will stick and fuse together. So while Chris is working on finishing that up, Tom is getting the second leg, well the first leg I suppose, is getting the first leg prepared in our garage. So we have a hot side and a cold side to that garage. We put everything on the cold side, and then we move it over towards the flame so that we can start to preheat it before we put it into our 2,000 degree furnace so that we don't stress the glass by heating it too quickly. Now in the meantime, while Tom's doing that, we're adding a little bit of color to the surface of the glass. Now we start with clear glass typically, and we have several different ways to apply color to the glass. And one of those ways is a powder, so it's powdered glass. Now, if you are familiar with glass, dust, you may know that we don't want to breathe glass dust. We don't want that in the air. So we have a powder booth. This is a fan, it's an exhaust system, so we turn that on. And then we can sprinkle this glass powder over the surface of our glass. It gives us a really good uniform color application, but it's also drawing any of that glass dust out of the air and into filtration. That way we're not going to breathe it. Now, I will also say that Chris is adding blue glass because this is his example Lego. Not sure how well you can tell. It's blue, so we're using blue glass for this particular piece. And the powder is really nice because we can just go over and cover the surface. A lot of times at the beginning of a process, that's when we would add the color. And we would apply the color then because the glass is at its hottest. But once you have a form already made like this, it's very hard to get it really hot to apply color and other methods. So this is a good way to get a good surface coating of our color. Do you have a question? You thought it was violet or purple. Well, it probably looks a little violet or a little purple, and this is an astute observation. Oftentimes, our glass looks different when it's hot because it's glowing, it's emitting energy when it's so hot. So I'll show you. I think I've got a moment here before Tom delivers this next leg. I'll show you just some of our clear glass first. So I'll get a little bit of clear glass, and you can see that this is not going to look clear. This is going to look bright orange. And that's just because it's so hot. So here's a little bit of our clear glass, and then this is also fun. I'll show you how runny these glasses do, okay? Stop turning. Tricked you. Oh, that's Mark. That's our safety guy. Mark, I forgot you were here. Mark, maybe you should go. We make a lot of this the first day. Yeah. I've made a mess now, so if you want, after you see the Lego demonstration, you can stick around. I'll do a sweeping demonstration as well. We do that several times a day here at our show. But you can see how that glass glows bright orange, and our colors will do the same. The colors glow differently, though, depending on what color they are. So our green glass, that tends to look orange when it's hot, but orange glass tends to look brown when it's hot. So these pumpkin pieces that we have on our stage, when we were making those, they looked brown the whole time. But this is our first leg. Tom brings the leg over, we stick it on, a little bit of water at that connection, and a little tap. That breaks right off. Yeah. Very well done. You're a great audience. You've already picked up on the fact that anytime we make one of those connections, we should celebrate. That's good. We celebrate because anytime we make a connection, we're also breaking glass. So we're breaking it off of that little rod. And when we are breaking glass, I'm sure you know that there's potential for disaster, because a lot of you have probably broken glass before, and you probably broke glass in a lot of pieces. So we are always happy when it breaks, only when and where we know it's breaking. So we're going to keep working on the bottom of this foot, and we're going to clean that up a little bit as well. Just like before, there's going to be a little bit of glass left behind, so we'll clean that up. Now this is why we always work in teams, because Tom is delivering the glass over, and Catherine is taking these short beats so that Chris can be free to prepare his tools and be ready in whatever other way he needs to be ready. So always working together in teams like this. The other week, just last week, we had a members event, and we had one of our friends, her name is Gkass Burns. She came and worked with us. And has anyone seen the show Blown Away? It's on Netflix, the glass blowing show. Yeah, there's a glass blowing show on Netflix. It's called Blown Away. So if you leave here and you haven't had enough glass blowing, you can watch the show. It's called Blown Away. If you leave here and you haven't had enough Lego action, there's also a television show about Legos. Lego Magic. I just thought of that. There's TV shows about everything. But you can watch TV shows about Legos or glass blowing. Or you can also go to our YouTube channel. We have tons of, probably hundreds of hours at this point of glass blowing videos on our YouTube channel. But our friend Kat was here last week, and we made a huge piece. I think there were 10 of us working on this piece. We attached 23 components, and it's over 3 feet tall, so it's huge. And we just posted a video of that on our Instagram, and you should follow us on Instagram, because we just posted that video on Instagram, and yesterday it was posted. It already has over 1 million views, which is crazy. But I think that this glass Lego also will have great potential to gain a lot of attention on our social media. But when you leave here, you're not going to be able to see our completed Lego all cooled down. When we finish this, we do have to cool it slowly. So you can follow us on social media, and you'll be able to see a video. That's what Brady is doing. He's filming for our social media, and then you'll see that video as well as the completed Lego on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, perhaps the TikTok for the youth. The youth are on TikTok. I think we're on there. But that's a good way to find the finished result of this. But yeah, last week we were working together, about 10 of us all, on one big piece of